I'm Joe from Carême cooking classes, and today we're going to make brioche buns. Well, we're going to make them tomorrow, but to making the dough tonight. They're sort of a richly extravagant, slightly spiced bun. They've got a lot of butter and eggs, all sorts of good things. The first part is very easy. We'll do that now. We need some warm milk. I've got the warm milk. We'll put it in here. Want the milk to be about 30 degrees. It's to wake the yeast up. A little bit of honey. Our recipe says ½ teaspoon. We're using honey in several bits of the recipe today. Here's ½ teaspoon. And yeast. I had my yeast. I had fresh yeast, so I put it in little bits in the freezer. Now I can't get into it. I'll work my way into it. So I've done my homework. I've got the yeast out of the freezer. The other homework I did was I brought butter to room temperature. So here's my yeast. This is more yeast than I would normally use for something this size, but I'm worried that it will have some of it will have died. So I'm not worried that I'm using some dead yeast, but I'm worried that I haven't got as much active yeast as I normally would. So I'm using some extra. I'm mixing this together, and then I'm going to leave it. Oh, it smells good. It smells yeasty, so that's a good sign. And then I'm going to leave it for 5 minutes for the yeast to start doing its thing. Right, come back in 5 minutes. Okay, the yeast has come to the surface. It took a little longer than 5 minutes. I think I'd let my milk cool down a bit before I started talking to you. So we're going to add some more things and beat it up. We want 2 egg whites in here, and then we want the yolks later. Of course we want the yolks. And some more honey and some flour. 2 whites, 2 tablespoons of honey. Yes, I'm measuring not with a tablespoon, but I know what 2 tablespoons of honey looks like. This will give our buns some sweetness, and we want, 1 cup of flour. Yes. The recipe actually is supposed to be for strong flour, but I haven't got any strong flour here, so I'm afraid we're improvising. But I often do use plain flour where other people would use strong flour anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that. And then we apparently beat the living daylights out of it. This would be easier if I was using a mixer, but I don't think you all have mixers at home. So it's going all right. I'm going to whisk that a bit. Is that to be more efficient? They say to put it on a standard mixer for like 3 minutes. That's the original recipe. I'm not going to. I could, but I'm not going to. They don't get you. Oh, crikey, I'm sure that's 3 minutes. I think it's 3 minutes. Oh, feels like about 15. Tries to gather breath. The next step is to put flour on top of it and leave it to. You can see if it's the yeast has been working because it cracks the surface of the flour. It's quite fun. We want to put over it. Let's see, ½ cup of wholemeal and another cup of plain. I hope you can't hear me huffing and puffing. Why do we use half a cup of wholemeal? Because the recipe says so. There you go, that's as good as in reason as any. And then we leave that. I'm going to leave it somewhere fairly warm because, as I say, the milk got a little cool. So I'm actually going to set it inside another bowl with slightly warm water, and we leave that for, well, until it should be until it cracks the flour. But it's about 30 minutes according to the recipe. But we're allowed to use a bit of judgment on this one. Back in a tick. All right. Here we go. The dough did crack the flour. I'm not sure. See, I've got it sitting over some slightly warm water. I don't know if you can see that. So I did take a photo of it, a still photo, and I'll put that on here. There's the water. And now we're going to mix it up. We're going to put in a half teaspoon of salt, some orange rind. We want a teaspoon of orange rind. So, Tommy Tom, that's going to be rind of half an orange, isn't it? Maybe a bit more. Yes. And here's our egg yolks from before. We had put the whites in before, and there's the yolks. And we use 2 tablespoons of cold milk because the recipe says so. And we mix that. I actually think it would be nice if we had some orange flower water in it also, but I haven't got any at home. So. Now this is hard to mix. Once again, I'll tell you when the kneading stops. We we're allowed to put a little bit more flour if we want to, because this is a pretty wet dough. It's going to take a bit of mixing, and that is pretty wet, isn't it? Underestimate the amount of work involved in this. We are earning our buns. I think we might put a little bit more flour in, because that is a very, very, very wet dough. So if I add, what's that, quarter of a cup of flour. The amount of flour in any bread thing is always variable. But this is always a particularly wet bun. There are not many dough recipes, yeasty recipes, where you mix it all with a spoon. So we might even add some more flour. And you can see there's I mean, you've definitely got gluten development because it's stringy anyway. But tiny bit more flour. 2 tablespoons more flour. but then the hard work starts. We start adding the butter. This is the hard way of doing brioche. Then we're going to add the butter. We want 112 grams of room temperature butter, and we're going to add a tablespoon by tablespoon, so that's what, six tablespoons of butter roughly. Oops, scales. Hold on. Put them away, thought we didn't get them. Puffs. If I measure out the butter now, because these scales tend to turn themselves off. Them into there. That's 92. That's not quite enough. Yep. So here's our first lot of butter. Excellent. Oh, I think there's a piece of easy. Kneading. No, it's not actually. Not mixed in, is it? The butter has to disappear before you put the next lot in. And so we're going to do this like 6 times. Once again, I'll show where it finishes. And you're going to be smart and use it and mix it, or else be prepared for it taking a while. It's fine, just relax it, don't relax into it. But except that it is going to take a while. Well, I think that's more than a 1/6, which means I'm not going to take 6 times as long as that to do it. What a shame! As a well-developed dough. It's, yep. My word, look at it. That looks magnificent. The butter has all disappeared. Scrape it down a bit. And that is going to go, oh dear. That is going to go covered and into the fridge. And then we'll get it out tomorrow morning and put some filling into it and cook it off. Yes, great. Hello, welcome back. It's the next day. The dough has risen in the fridge. I've checked it, but I'm leaving it there while we make the filling for it. All the goodie bits. We need to warm it up in a pot to melt some stuff. Just a couple of things we're weighing. We're going to weigh the brown sugar. We won't turn the scales on. We need 75 grams of brown sugar and 50 grams of butter. Yep. And 50 grams of butter. And some, zero that again, and then we want to melt this, 0 I said, and then some more honey, And what do we need? We need cinnamon and cardamom. Okay, we need 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. It's quite a lot. And half teaspoon of cardamom. Cardamom is lovely. I use it more than other people, in a good way. And more honey, 1 tablespoon of honey. And then we just put that on to melt and mix up. That won't take long, but while it does, I'm going to put some walnuts in as well. So I've just toasted some walnuts, well, half cup. Some of them got a little overdone. Won't kill them. No, just a tiny bit. Because we want the filling to be heated up to melt it, but then cooled down before we put it into the pastry. Sizzle. Right, so that's going to go in the filling's going to go in here so that I can put it in the fridge. Filling's softening, melting, time to dump, and then we're going to roll out the pastry on here, and then finish with that, in fact I might clear some space. Here's our filling, yum yum. Butter is just finishing melting. I want to cool it down as fast as I can, so I don't heat it up any more than I have to. There we go. I'll put it in with the walnuts. This pot's hot, and I want to put this in the fridge. So I'll put it in a cold bowl. Smells delish. And here's our dough out. Let's make some more room. And you can see it's risen, and it's cold, but it's risen. You can, when you push your finger into it, the impression stays. So that's good. We're going to roll it out fairly quickly before it warms up, because it gets a bit too soft if it warms up. And we're hoping that by the time we've got it rolled out, the filling has cooled down. Oh damn, I forgot to get my dough scraper out. You know I love my dough scraper. We'll have to make do. There we go. We want a rectangle, what do we want, 12 inches by, no, it was 40 centimetres by 30 centimetres. Now I've got a rolling pin somewhere. There we go. I did prepare myself a bit. I got the rolling pin and I did grease an oven tray, although I don't have an oven tray the right size. So we're going to have to improvise a bit. Not enough flour, it's stuck. 40 centimetres by 30 centimetres. If you want a rectangle, I always think roll on a diagonal and you will get corners. Look at that, corners. Goodness me, that is amazing. Now that's not a rectangle, that's more square. But we can make it a rectangle. Ah, she made it a rectangle. Oh dear. Oh, nice. Corners have got a bit lopsided. That is about 40 centimetres by 30 centimetres. I'm guessing. Yeah, that's about right. Just make sure that you've got the good side on the outside, so which is going to be the bottom. You might just turn it over. Oh, the bottom wasn't bad either. Still looking good. Still looking good. There's still hope. Here's the filling. It's still slightly warm, but I think we'll go with it because I don't want the dough to warm up. It'll go everywhere. I want it because if it's still cool, it'll cut nicely. No, planning ahead. Hold on, I just something I had to plan. I want a knife, not my best knife, because I don't want to cut my best knife onto the stainless steel. Hold on. My worst knife. Still a nice knife, but it's not my best knife. So here's the filling, all the good bits. Sugar, honey, gooey bits. If you cool that down too much, it will set, and then it won't spread. In fact, it's quite hard to spread. This is the inside of the buns, so it's not the end of the world what it looks like. But you want to have an even distribution, or there'll be fights over who gets the sticky bits. The very edges we're going to cut off, because you never get that filling to the edges, these edges. And these edges are going to be inside the buns, that's right. We'll go over that, and then we'll roll it up. If you mess about too much with this, it will, the dough will go floppy. It'll get too warm and it will go floppy, and the world will come to an end. But in this case, it didn't. If things go pear-shaped for you, chill the dough again. That will really. Because you can see it's quite hard to cut. If you really want it to be beautiful, chill it. Now, I'm worried. I'm not that kind of person. I just cut it. I just do it now. I'd rather do it now and have it done, because I'm going to. So I'm cutting 6, and then cut that into. I'm going to slightly reshape them when I get them onto the tray. Now, here's the tray which is not quite the right shape, and we're going to take them out and slightly see how we're going to reshape them to be. Now, we're going to have 3 rows of 4. Yeah. My rolling wasn't perfect. My ones is from the middle are fatter, but they're still nice. And the ones at this end, because they're not supported, are going to go a bit floppy. See, that side is better, so I'm going to put that side out. There we go. And they're going to rise at warm room temperature. These bits I'm going to use as a support for here. And you know I'm going to eat them, don't you? In fact, if I'm very cunning, I'll scrape a little bit of gooey stuff on there, because I'll eat them as soon as they come out of the oven. They're going to rise at warm room temperature for about half an hour. The dough is still quite cool, so they'll take a little bit of rising, but it's reasonably warm in here, so they will rise. but I'll show you before they go in the oven. Excellent. Here we go. The buns have risen. They look puffy. That's how, it's a good description for things which are ready to go in the oven. I'll squish this one because it's easy to, it's a spare one. It puffs, when you squish it, it doesn't spring back. They just look ready. They look ready to me. They've risen at least 50%. One like this is not going to rise 100% because of all that extra weight it's carrying with the butter and eggs. So I shall stick them in the oven. And then we'll come back in 20 to 25 minutes and have a look at them. Okay, I've just had a little peek in the oven and the buns are ready, so I'll get them out. Oh yes, definitely ready. Yes, here we go. Look at them, lovely buns. They're at their best with a little glaze on top to really make them super delicious. This is 25 grams of butter and 2 tablespoons more of honey. We use a lot of honey. Here we go. And then if you want a little crunch, just sprinkle a bit of sugar on. I'm going to use raw sugar because it's the only sugar I've got with a large crystal. There's a tip, and another tip, oh there's my little ones, and another tip is, what was I going to say? Oh yes, I need to do something else. Take them out of the tin before they're cold because otherwise they will stick like little demons. Yes. Right. It makes them shine, makes them sweeter, like they needed it. And here's the sugar for crunch, just a little bit. Here we go. Here we go. Here's our brioche buns. Looking good. Excellent. Wonderful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.